um, have good programs that will explain the pros and the cons about dowry. Um, the most expensive dowry, I'm just looking here. It says that most men actually do pay a lot of money, hoping that the family will not be able to repay the money back. So, and once that bride becomes wife, he will, mistreat her and do a whole bunch of stuff to this woman, and the woman will not be able to go anywhere or do anything because the family cannot afford to repay the dowry back. So usually that's where violence comes in and a lot of abuse. Now the woman probably she would like to just run off and go, but she can't. And just because the family cannot give back the money and they don't have it,
Okay.
They're like that, they
All
don't
right.
have it. So.
Thank you. And Isota, briefly, what are your views on the dowry? Should it be reviewed?
Well, interestingly, nowadays, you will realize that for most weddings or marriages to occur, the wife and the man, the woman and the man have to very hard raise some money to get things done. And so if we say we are going to review, I wonder what the review will look like, because even in the provinces, when a girl is thrown to a certain woman, that girl will work for the man's family. They will work in the farm to make money, and I don't think that's an issue of the men saying, "Oh, they spend a lot of money on marrying the wife." That was a long time ago. Remember when I was working in Koinadugu, this was one of the big problems. One of the tribes there was saying that people were saying that after they are being married, and if anything happens in the home, and then the wives want to leave, the man will request every single cent, every single car or anything they bought for that particular wedding, because the families cannot afford those things. They force the wife to stay, but now I think that is changing a lot, because men and women alike are contributing into the marriages that are happening nowadays in Sierra Leone, as I can see from my own point of view. Okay. And if we say we are going to review, I don't think that it makes sense. All we need to review is we need to look at the laws of Sierra Leone. We know we are guided by customary law, we are guided by Christian, Muslim law, all of these things. Okay. Most of the time, these laws, they are binded on more people that are settled in customary areas. People that settle in urban places like in Freetown do not have much of this problem. I cannot say they are not happening. They're happening, but those in the rural communities are more the victims that suffer from these things because the lack of education. My interest is on education. We need to do more. We need to educate people. This
all
is
right,
my tip.
Thank you very much. Thank you all, and I'm sure our listeners would have appreciated what we've all had to say on these issues. We'll take a few minutes break now, and we shall be back. Hello, listeners. We're back with our second segment of the domestic violence discussion, and we have all our panelists here again. And the first segment we talked about the act and the tradition, the act itself, the legal aspects, and also the traditional beliefs that make it really difficult to implement. One thing that came out from that is the need for education. It's education, education, education. And the second thing was economic empowerment as well. Sister Mahoy very interestingly brought up the effectiveness of organizations that are on the ground who actually deal with this problem, and questions their integrity. Also, another thing that was questioned was the sincerity of the act itself on government's part. Okay, so Sierra Leone in general through the years has been very, very good at signing up for declarations. I mean, Sierra Leone was one of the first places that women were given the vote. But when we look overall, we seem to lag behind because we sign all these conventions and then that's it. We don't follow through on implementing. But more importantly now with domestic violence, the attitude, how can we provide support for victims is what I want this segment to focus on. How can we make the civil societies more effective, or us as individuals, the communities, the societies, how can we support victims of domestic violence? So I will start with you, Nene.
Thanks for the question, Kat. From what I know is I believe very strongly that there should be a place for victims, and victims have to be separated from, which mostly the victims are the women, and mostly they have to be separated from their husbands. In doing so, there should be, well, this is where the law comes in and comes in place, that there should be the law that gives the order of protection for 6 months to a year. That way it gives and allows women and men to be separated so that they can have interventions through their families. We could also have mediators to come in and they will try to settle their problems through the court. They can do it, by themselves, including the families. And also, the 6 to 12 month separation should be in place just to give the couple a break to think about all their issues and their problems and why there's so much fight. And I'm not sure if, the shelter system is not built in Sierra Leone, but I was looking into something like that, maybe a safe halfway house, or if they don't have families. But I know, we all have families back home that we can stay with, for that period of time while we try to work this out. And then also, I strongly believe that also the men that commit this violence act towards these women, they should, I wouldn't say punished, but I think they should be arrested somehow and put away through the court system so that when they come out, they will know how to act and behave properly. The women should be given a safety net first with their children, because usually it's the women who are scared to leave the home because they're looking at it like who is going to help them with their kids and themselves and who is going to provide for them. So I mean, the issue is really deep, and this shouldn't be about separating the family. It's a way of trying to temporarily place them apart and then bring them in together once everything is settled. And maybe, I'm not even sure if they have counselors there, but it should be counselors mediating also. And I think mostly is the women that suffers the most, and they should actually be taken away and removed from the home. And I think it was Aisata Mahoy. She mentioned something about she had mentioned something about the women. It just went off my mind. But anyway, she did mention something that was very important that I was just going to elaborate on, but I guess it just went off my mind. But she brought up a good example of how we can handle the situation. These women, definitely, they depend on these men, and we should try so hard to break that bridge. It's that bridge that has to be broken, where we teach these women, we cancel them, bring awareness in so that they know they can be self-sufficient and be able to take care of themselves. I was going to say something else, but it just escaped me completely, but I'll write it out next time. And that's all I have to say for now.
Okay, thank you very much, Nene. Aisata, you mentioned earlier men's responsibility, taking responsibility, trying to make themselves more empowered. Well,
yeah,
that is all very good. However, right now it's happening, and there's some women who are unable to for whatever reason. So we have the education, we have what we need to do to empower them. That's a whole piece of work. But at the moment, there are people who are suffering from domestic violence right now that needs to be addressed. What you've mentioned, the effectiveness of and integrity of NGOs who are supposed to be doing this work. How do you think we can actually provide this support? What can we do?
Okay. I always like to make reference to where I have worked and what I have seen. In Sierra Leone, you will see that there are lots of SMEs, like microfinance institutions helping women. In fact, microfinance institutions give more loans to women than how they give to men. And women that handle cash, women that have businesses of their own, women that know that because now they have their husbands are very careful in dealing with them. I believe are some of the ones that have changed a whole lot, because they are independent. They don't depend on men for whatever they needed in their lives. So I think we should start by that, by encouraging women in the society of providing these small loans for them to be engaged in something that will better their lives and their children's lives. I think it also starts from there. This can help a lot. And then the other issue is this, like go into schools, primary or secondary schools. We should start from there. I know it will take a whole lot of resources, but to sensitize to the children, so as they grow up, they will begin to realize that this domestic violence issue should not be tolerated in the society. And I think that will also help. And then we should continue to talk about these issues on the radio. We should not relent. We should continue. And until we sensitize to the last woman in Sierra Leone, I believe we have our mark. I think that is where we should start.
Thank you very much. That's really good.